Okay, I have the DJI Osmo Nano, and over the next couple days, I'm going to be testicling this out on a couple small hikes just to see if it's good for hikes and miscellaneous adventures and things. I also have a couple accessories to go along with it that I want to test out and see if they work. So let's just get these adventures underway.
Intro.
Okay, so one of the accessories that I got is a variable ND filter. If you're wondering why I got that, it's because I like my density neutralized. I got this because I like to follow the 180 rule for motion blur, and that is where if you have that natural motion blur you see there. So what that is the 180 rule is that you should be shooting your shutter speed at double that of your frame rate. So let's say, for instance, 30 frames per second. Your shutter speed will be at 1/60th of a second for that frame rate, and that gives you that natural motion blur, and that is what makes videos look a little more cinematic, if you will. Without the ND filter, if you tried to do that, everything would be crazy overexposed. So obviously one thing I want to test out with this is the stabilization. All right, so something that this does is this screen detaches from the camera, but I've been testing it a little bit and it seems like you can't go that far without this thing cutting off. It seems kind of handy that you can do this. If you're close to it, you can line up your shots, which is kind of nice, but I want to see how far I can actually get away from it before it actually cuts off. Oh. I'm that far away from it. How stupid is this thing? Yes. What the? Okay. So, we'll go on here. I'm not even in the screen yet. And it's lost connection here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so from my very scientific test that I just did,
nobody knows that I studied chemical engineering. I'm in Mensa.
It seems like I can only get about 8 feet away before this disconnects. Now it does continue to record. It just makes this screen kind of useless. So I was kind of hoping that you can get a little bit further away and still use the screen. Really a crappy design flaw. So aside from the ND filter, another accessory that I got is this little thing here. It's a 2x macro that's supposed to screw on over the lens. I want to see how this works. I don't have a lot of faith in it. I think it's going to be bad, but check it out. That's it there. Next couple of shots will be done with this. Let's see how it works. I will see what that's like on a bigger screen. On this smaller screen, it's really, really hard to tell. So obviously that's not going to give you a one-to-one macro, and it is just a little piece of glass that goes over the lens, so it's not going to be that great. It's such a small screen that it's hard to see where you're in focus and not in focus. So obviously it's not necessary to buy with this. I just had it and thought I would test it out. For 20 bucks, it's not terrible. The things you want to look out for on these are the battery life. And the battery life seems to be okay on this. Like the charging dock itself is at 9%. The camera is at 91%. And I've been mostly shooting 4K 30, a little bit of 4K 60. And it's still essentially at 100% battery life after an hour and a half. So it's actually pretty decent considering. Another thing we're going to check is the low light capabilities. Okay, so we're in a pretty dark area right now. We're in the thick of it, and I wanted to test to see what the low light is on this. So I'm shooting 4K 30 frames per second, 1/60th shutter speed, and I'm at ISO 100, And on the screen, it looks pretty dark, but I can't tell if it's grainy. I'll know after I edit this, but I'm gonna bump up the ISO a little bit and see if that's better. Okay, so this is ISO 400 and we are 4K 30. Shutter speed is 1/60th and it looks brighter. I don't actually know on this screen if it looks any better. Once again, we'll go into editing. Yeah, this is a pretty dark area in here, and with the ISO at 400, it looks okay, honestly. Okay, and much like the Osmo 360, this has a built-in memory. I got the 128 gig built-in memory. It also has a micro SD card slot, which is really handy. However, the one issue that I'm finding with this is this automatically records to the internal memory and then will go to the micro SD. I can't figure out a way to change that setting. I've looked at it like at least twice. Not a huge deal. It'd just be nice if you could choose which one you wanted it to go to. Okay, so after doing some editing with my DJI Osmo Nano, I just want to say it's an okay camera. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. I wouldn't probably buy it again. The only reason why I bought it this time is because I have more money than brains, and I have what the doctors call gas. That's gear acquisition syndrome. I buy these things because I think they're going to make me more creative. And in fact, they don't. They just make me have more things that I have to think about instead of thinking about being creative. And anyways, well, I'll see you later.